Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video, and in this video we are going to be continuing on with our C# tutorial series, and in this particular tutorial we are going to be taking a look at some of the more common properties in the DateTime struct, as well as taking a look at how we can add days or years even to a how we can like add days and years and stuff like that to dates, and a very common task, finding the difference between two dates using time span. Okay, so let's get started. First things first, we need a DateTime object, and we're going to work with the current date and time. So in this case, we'll say DateTime. Actually, yeah, so DateTime dt equals new DateTime. Actually, no. It needs to be DateTime dt equals DateTime if Visual Studio and NVDA will cooperate with me. DateTime dt equals DateTime.now. There we go. Okay. So now we have our current date and time. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create 3 separate variables, or rather I guess 6, because we're going to get all the components of a DateTime object. One for the month, one for the day, one for the year, one for the hour, minute, and second. Okay? So to do that, we can say int year equals dt, our DateTime object, dot year. It's the same process for month. Int month equals dt dot month. Int day equals dt dot day, like that. And so now we've gotten our year, month, and day from our DateTime object. It is exactly the same process for hour, minute, and second. So int hour equals dt dot hour. Int minute equals dt dot minute. And then int second equals dt dot second. And we can print all these values out and not have a problem, because again, these are all just integers. There's no special object or whatever for the hour, minute, second, day, month, year, whatever. It's all just integers. However, if you recall in the previous video, we also, we talked about day of week. Well, that's something we can get too from our DateTime object. We can get what day of the week it is. So, to do that, we need to use the day of week struct, DOW equals dt dot day of week, like that. And so now we have our day of week object. And we can do various operations with these and so on and so forth. But for now we're just taking a look at the different properties we can get. And now we're going to take a look at how we can add days, months, and even years to our DateTime objects. So below all of these variables, we can create another DateTime object, DateTime dt2 equals. However, we want this to be set. We want this one to be set, let's say 25 days in the future. Well, we can do that by saying dt dot add days, and then we can tell it how many days in the future or in the past we want this to be. If you want something to be in the past, make it a negative number. If you want it to go to the future, make it a positive number. So 25 days in the future is just a positive 25. And to demonstrate that we can use negative numbers, we'll do a DateTime dt3 equals dt dot add days negative 25. So 25 days in the past. Now, let's say for a second that we want to get the difference between two times. Well, we can do that with a time span object. And it's actually relatively simple. There's no methods for it or anything like that. You just use a subtraction sign, and that will, between two DateTime objects, and that will return a time span, giving you an indication of what the difference between these dates are. So let's say we want to find the difference between dt1 and dt2 and dt3. Well, we can go ahead and do a time span ts equals dt2 minus, or rather, let's say, okay, Visual Studio, I don't need your suggestions, dt3 minus dt2, like that. And you can see we don't get any errors here because this is valid. There is an overload of the minus operator. We will talk about operator overloading and how we can do something similar later on, because that is part of this tutorial series, course, whatever you want to call it. But for now, just keep in mind that the minus symbol is compatible with DateTime objects, and that is how you can find the difference between them. It's a lot simpler than it is in Java. In Java, you have to use all kinds of methods in local date or local date time and stuff to find the differences and stuff. JavaScript, it's hell, but in Java and C#, it's much simpler than that. But in C#, it's just this. That's all it is. It's very simple. And that's what people want, really. They want something simple. Now, what if we want to write a program, okay, that gets the current date and time. It gets the current date and time, and we want to, say, output it in a specific format. You can use the toString for that, but we'll talk about that later. However, you can do this yourself. And so let's go ahead and do that. Kind of working with dates. Give you an example of how we can work with them. So what we'll do is we will work with the variables we have up here. We've gotten our current date and time with DT. We got year, month, day, so on and so forth. And that will be useful to us. Let's create a method. And we'll call this method get full date. So we can say string get full date. We want the int month, int day, int year, int hour, int minute. Like that. Let's make sure that we actually typed this correctly. Yeah. And day. Aha. We need to put a comma here. Okay. Yep. Okay, so now inside of this method, first things first is we need to say string meridian equals, and then here we're going to use a Boolean expression to assign the string meridian dynamically. And this is using the tertiary operators. This is something a little bit newer that we haven't talked about yet. But question mark and colon. Those are essentially, I'll explain as we type it. So let's say if the hour is greater than 12, then we know it's PM. Well, how do we then assign it based on whether this condition is true? That's where the question mark comes in. So question mark PM, like that. And then the colon is for else. Otherwise, it's going to be AM. So that's the first thing. And then we want an int non-military hour is going to be equal to if the hour is greater than 12, question mark, hour minus 12. Otherwise, it's going to be hour. Okay. And then here we can say day of week. Well, I guess we technically already have that. So we can pass this in as well. So we can say day of week DOW like that. Just so we have that in here in our method. Okay. So we can say string DOW string is equal to DOW dot toString. Like that. So now we have the string representation of our day of the week. Everything else is perfectly fine. So now, here, let's see. Okay. I guess something's wrong here. Okay, so we have all the semicolons. I'm wondering. SGRING. Oh, okay. I see. Day of week, DOW, like that. Okay. There we go, that's better. So in here then we can say return we can say, well, I guess what we need to do is say string dot format and here we can say we have our string. This is going to be our day of the week, month, well, I guess actually before we return, we need to do a let's see, string month string. We're gonna set that equal to nothing to start off with, and then we'll say switch. And inside here we can say month. And then we can say case 1. then the month string equals January. Break. Case 2, month string is equal to February. Case 3, month string is equal to March. Case 4, month string is equal to April. There. Equals April break. Okay, there we go. Case 5, month string equals May. Case 6, month string equals June. Seven, month string equals July. So you can see just how repetitive this is. That's why many people have made external libraries for this stuff, but I want to show you guys just how you can do it yourself if you don't want to use any external libraries. Month string equals August. Case 9, month string is equal to September. Break. Case 10, month string is equal to October. And of course I screwed this up too. October. Break. There we go. Case 11, month string equals November. Case 1, 2, so case 12, month string equals December. Break. Default. Month string equals unknown. And there we go. So that's our switch. It's a relatively big switch, but that's because we're trying to determine the month string. Now, once that's done, we can return month string plus, or rather, not even month string, it's DOW string plus a comma and a space plus the month string plus a space plus the day plus a comma and a space plus the year in fact, let's go ahead and kind of like separate these into separate lines because this is a bit long. Okay. We can put that there. Okay, there we go. That's better. Everything's on its own line. Plus, and then we need a space at space hour, or rather we want non-military hour plus a colon minute plus a space and a meridian. And there we go. We could have done this a little bit differently with string.format, but whatever. We're doing it this way because screw it. But now that should work. And our method should not be screaming at us either, for that matter. And no, it is not. Perfect. Okay, now let's console log everything using our current date and time. Okay, so console.writeLine like that, and we can say get full date. We can say DOW month, day, year, hour, minute. And so now that should be everything that we need. Go ahead and run your code now, finally. And I'm going to invert my colors of my screen. We're gonna zoom in on our output. And so here we can see our results. We will also be able to see these results if we go into our CMD. We go to our D drive, which is where my project is. CD. And it's going to be Sharp tutorials, and in that folder there. I'm going to clear my screen, and we can go ahead and do a .NET run. And so you can see now that it's a little off. It's slightly off in terms of the time, because right now it is, let's see, what time is it? The current time, where I am at the current moment, it's past 1 o'clock. 1:55 p.m. So it's slightly off. When we ran it, it was 1:54, but it's slightly off, where it's the hour is slightly off. But that's okay. You can go ahead and adjust that however you need to adjust it. But other than that, the date is correct. The meridian is correct. It's PM. So, yeah, that pretty much does it for this video, guys, on the different properties and methods that you can use with the DateTime object, as well as time span. I know we didn't show like the differences between the date and time in our console, but I'm gonna leave up to you. I want you to go into the documentation, okay, and read how we can get like the different properties or methods that can be used to extract that information, so you can output that to the console. That's my task for you in this video. I showed you how to get the difference between the dates. Now it's up to you to actually extract them and output them to the console. So thank you all so very much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.